to our staff this time and introduce yourself. Just tell us where you're from, tell us what program you're in, tell us how long you've been here.
My name is Lian Mung. I'm from Myanmar, and I'm in the doctoral program in the Old Testament. I'm now here for about 5 years, and I'm writing my dissertation. Thank you so much.
I'm Susie. I'm in the PhD program. I've been here 10 months, and I'm from Jamaica.
My name is Kate Reed. I work here, actually. I work in the International Student and Scholar Office, and I've been working there almost 4 years, but 2 years prior to that, I also spent 2 years as a student, and I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
Hello, my name is Alan Hernandez. I am MD student. I am from Mexico. I was born and raised there, and I'm living in Waukegan now.
All right. So we got kind of a broad spectrum of panelists from all over, and just as Will kind of set us up, as Dr. Jip kind of walked us through the scriptures as it related to immigration, and then we had also Dr. Waybright come in and give us sort of a pastoral response as a practitioner of what it looks like to walk alongside people who are immigrating into the country. We've obviously got a panel that is made up of people from all over, and so I want to launch off and give us each an opportunity to answer a few questions. So whoever wants to answer first, just go ahead and take the mic, and I'll give an opportunity for everybody to answer. So the first question is this: what is your experience relating to immigration? Anybody can jump in.
Lady first.
The lady will go first. My experience with immigration, well, I have been in the immigration process for 15 years. I actually became a permanent resident just last year, September of 2013, having been in that process for 12 years. Immigration has been a significant part of my life. I actually came to the US as an international student on a student visa first. Then I transitioned onto a work visa. Then I transitioned into being a permanent resident. So I've had a long, long journey of waiting and being in this process and going through the ups and downs of being an immigrant in a very real way.
I moved in 2010 to the United States with a student visa to study in a seminary in Texas. I guess that in that place was the first time that I started to notice all the issues among immigrants. And to be honest with you, I started seeing it first among Latinos, among people that are actually Hispanic, like they were treating each other in a very racist way, and that surprised me. And then when I started going to churches in the local area, I started noticing that our culture wasn't respected. So I started this journey of feeling strange and not accepted. I have those stories that I can share, but just 4 years living here, I guess I start kind of knowing about the topic, talking with people that actually are not Hispanic to see their point of view. So that's what I'm trying to do as I am walking as an immigrant in this country. I am currently a resident. My wife is from here. I also went to this long process of being a resident, which is really complicated and expensive. Some of you don't have an idea how difficult it is. You need to have proof of everything, and just it's really, really hard. And as a student with a student visa, it's really hard as well. Like I was not wanting to come to the United States. I say openly that God brought me here, but it was the last country that I wanted to go because it's really hard. And because we are not treated very well here, to be honest.
And so my experience is not firsthand, but this is something that I would say is part of my day-to-day life. just as I talk with various students each day who are experiencing some of the complexities and the stress of being here on a student visa and the challenges that come with that.
I have been helping Burmese refugees from my own country who live in Witten area since 2009. And they fled from Myanmar to Thailand during the military regime in Myanmar. It started in 1988. And they fled from Myanmar to Thailand and then to Malaysia. Then with the help of the United Nations, they came to the United States. So I have been volunteering as a pastor for them to teach the Bible. Thanks.
All right, guys. Well, just as you can see, having a conversation, learning a whole bunch of stuff about where people are from and what people have had to deal with, initially is just an eye-opener in general. And so you can just notice, for me at least as an American, like those are blind spots for me, just listening to you guys. And so I want to open to the second question and ask you, what do you wish people knew about, or what do you wish more people knew about immigration?
Can I go first? Well, we were just talking about the process to becoming resident or to be documented in this country is very complicated. And some of you don't have an idea of how is those procedures done or what do you need to do and which countries only are going to take visas. There are countries that they don't need to have a visa to come here. And so there is a procedure that sometimes people don't know and you just assume in general that everybody is coming here undocumented and they're trying to take advantage. So I wish that people will know more about how can you come to this country with documents and what is the procedure for people that is living here for a lot of years and they want to have their documents in a good status, but they can't because there is nothing open for them, and how it's affected the family because of that. And even going deeply, there are some procedures that they don't give you right away the residency, but they don't give you also a permission to work, and they don't allow you to go out of the country, which is really strange. So it's like there is this circle of not allowing people to get right because there's a lot of politics, ideas or business there implied in these procedures. So,
Yeah, and I think just in general, I wish people knew more just how complicated it is. I just feel like it's complicated on just many different levels. For people coming on a student visa, they are choosing to come here. They probably could have studied in their home country, they could have studied elsewhere, but they are choosing to come here because they feel called to come to this place. But it's not an easy or straightforward journey. Applying for a visa, sometimes you go in and you get a visa and you go on your way and it's fine. Other times, a person may have to apply multiple times. They may be denied without a lot of explanation as to why the visa is denied. And even the amount of paperwork just to get a visa is significant. So I think it could just be very complicated. And then even once a person is here, I think it can at times just be very tiring to kind of constantly be facing additional hurdles in just kind of day-to-day life because of the fact that they are here on a student visa. So something as simple as getting a driver's license for a spouse of a student there's a whole special procedure a person needs to go through. It could mean at least 2 trips to the DMV to only select facilities that process that kind of driver's license. And so that's just a small thing, but I think just kind of the cumulative total of having things like that just on a day-to-day basis that a person needs to deal with, kind of as a constant reminder that you can't follow the normal procedure because you are here on a student visa, can be challenging.
I echo everything that has been said, and also I think I wish people would never assume that we're here to take away things from people who are American. It's a real issue. I've been told that. Why are you here? Are you coming to take our jobs? Why are you working 4 jobs? Because you are taking away the jobs that are available for other people who are American, born and raised here. I wish there was an understanding that really God has called people here and led people here, and the process is really difficult. I have spent thousands of dollars in immigration because every part of the process is another fee. And some of it is not refundable. So if you go to the embassy and they reject you on one thing, you have to start the process all over again, and you have to pay all over again. So there are a lot of assumptions. So I wish people would ask more questions. That's my hope. That people would ask instead of assuming that A, you're undocumented, B, that the process that you're going through is easy and simple, because it really isn't. As Kate has really said, it is a task to come here and to be legally here. The paperwork and the process takes forever. I remember when I started the immigration process in 2001, I didn't hear from the US government for about 7 years, nothing. And my paperwork sat in on file somewhere, and you have to just wait. You call and you ask, and they treat you very disparagingly. Why are you calling? Give you limited information. You're just a number, and you just have to wait. I was at the mercy of the hands of the government for a very long time. And it's a very painful experience when you know that you're a citizen of another country, yet God has sent you to somewhere else that you are struggling to actually enter. It's a very humbling process. It strips you down to pretty much nothing, because you have to rely on God's grace to take you through, and be very humble in receiving and waiting and be patient. So I wish that people would have a sense that it's not as easy as people assume it to be, and be able to just be open to learning a lot about that.
Thanks. My friends already have talked about the immigration process issue, but now I would like to focus on the Burmese refugees. For them, visa is no longer a problem because the UN already helped them come. But I would like the church or others to be aware of, since they fled from their own country, then when they came here, they needed emotional support, because they are full of fear and worries. So whenever they see a person with a uniform, they are afraid of. Whenever they see a policeman, they have to run away, because during their stay in Malaysia or wherever, they were considered as, let's say, illegal immigrants. So one thing too would be like the physical help in terms of physical needs, because they came here with nothing, only with their names. Some even have to change their names because during the ESL class, oh, I cannot call your name, so why don't I give you a name like John and whatever. So they just bring only their names. So that would be another thing. Would be like intellectual. They have to learn the U.S. laws. For example, DUI, driving under the influence of drugs. So in our country, driving and drinking, it doesn't matter. So they have to be educated. So I would like you to be aware of the fact that the refugees are in need of physical help, emotional help, even spiritual help. Thanks.
Thanks, you, brother. Well, picking up what this brother just said, where do you guys see the church engaging the complexities of immigration?
I'll go ahead, okay. I'm glad that some of our trainee students have been helping the refugees as well. And if I give my church as my own example, the church in Wayton the First Presbyterian Church of Wheaton has been hosting us. So it can provide. Number two would be like discipling, not just in American context, but they also have to learn maybe, let's say, a Burmese context. Because here, if you say something on the paper, then you say, okay, I have to follow. But in our context, just saying on paper is not, it doesn't mean very much. So one example would be, one of my church members, he raised up in a Christian family, but while he was in Malaysia as a refugee, waiting for here to come, he was addicted to alcohol. So when he came here, he was taught that, driving and drinking did not go well together. So you cannot drink if you are about to drive. He understood it. All it's on the paper, but somehow it didn't get into his mind. So he committed like 3 DUIs. So right now he's in jail. So that kind of thing. So in that case, like if the church is aware of the differences between learning styles, so in that way they can help us not only in spiritual but also in intellectual and everything. So the church plays a big role. Thanks.
I think I'll echo what has been already said. And also, I guess, support. Persons who immigrate to the US, it's a completely different system, a completely different life. There are complexities here that people don't readily and easily understand. But support is always encouraged and welcomed, and if the church can provide a place of welcome, a hospitality kind of mentality and experience for the immigrant, I think it goes a long way, because we feel very encouraged that we have a part to play and that we are part of the American environment and not an outsider, to feel more encouraged that you're not an alien. It's funny that the permanent resident card says resident alien, so you're always an alien. And so just to feel a sense of community would be encouraging, I think, from the church. I've had that since I've lived in the US. When I lived in California, it was very encouraging to know that I was one of the family and not seen as an outsider, oh, it's us or them. So that's my encouragement.
I think very much related to what's already been said. I think the church helping on practical levels can just be huge, because there are just practical needs that come up and that exist when you're living in a country that's not your own. And I think also, the vision and hope for the church would be that, as Susie has said, that there is a sense of family. Students, people, and again, speaking more from a student visa perspective, on one hand, it's not as if people are here just for a few months. They're not here like in a tourist capacity. But for most people on a student visa, they're also just here temporarily. They're not necessarily going to be here forever and ever. And so it's just a brief period of time, but it's a significant period of time, often 4, 5, 6 years. And so I feel like it's just such a time of tremendous potential for the church to further embrace what it means to exist as the global church, so that it's not just reaching out to people or just helping people, but that those people become part of the church in a very, very real way. And there's reciprocal, mutual conversation going on in a way that builds up the American church in a capacity that wouldn't have been possible had there not been the opportunity to embrace people from other parts of the world and see the church in a more global capacity. So that would be my hope.
Well, I see the church facilitating connections between reliable organization and immigrant people. I wish that the church would be a safe place for immigrants, especially those that are undocumented, to talk about their status without feeling fear of being judged. I also hope that the church staff will work with immigrants, not having immigrants working for them, which is completely different.
I was just going to also share, I mean, at Trinity in particular, Kate's office oversees international students, and you have no idea, when people move here from another country, it's assumed that they know where to find things and where to go. Furniture is just, easy to access, and you know people here, so you can easily find things and get settled. It's really not the case. When you move here, you move with 5 suitcases of your clothing and things from home, and that's it. So if there are ways that practically, even in our community, we can serve persons who come from overseas, something as simple as donating things when you are leaving Trinity to the International Student Office. Something as simple as a microwave. You have no idea. I mean, when you come, you have to balance, okay, what do I spend and purchase now, or what can wait? And so those are real issues for people who move and immigrate here to get settled and to start life in a completely different place when they have left a full life in their own country to move to somewhere that you basically start over. So from a community and church perspective, it's encouraging when persons are not patronized, but they are encouraged. So there's a difference between saying, oh, I feel so sorry for them, they're international, or saying, we want to partner with you, join with you. How can we serve and help you in getting settled, in building a life here? How can we help you to make life a lot easier here? Those are real needs and practical ways that we, as a community, also outside of just the larger church environment.
Man, I just want to say that I personally helped Susie move into her house.
Yes, he did. And I'm very grateful.
She had to chase me down and use my truck, but it happened anyway.
Yes, I'm grateful.
I wasn't the best example of that. But I do.
No, but you did though.
I do want to open it up and just say, man, can you guys just, even distilling it down, what can we do on a personal level, just as kind of Susie just talked about a little bit, on a personal Christian level to our neighbor? How can we help somebody dealing with the situation of immigrating?
Can I just, before I pass the mic along, something very practical is Kate needs a lot of help when it comes to the summer and people moving here. You have no idea. I did probably, 10, 12 airport runs this summer alone for families that were coming. 6 suitcases, 8 suitcases, 12 suitcases. When they come, they open the apartment door and there is nothing there. You look at carpet and walls. So if you are available, willing, usually it's needing help, physical help, to move stuff from the furniture room, to take people to Target, to take people to walk. If you can practically do those things to serve our community, it goes a long way. When you move here, you don't have a car. Deerfield is not the most friendly place where you can walk. So if you even donate an hour of your time, an afternoon of your time to serve people, to take them to something as simple as the grocery store to buy groceries, it goes a long way. It is such a blessing. I have cried many tears not having a car and not having a way to get places. And realizing I owned my own car, I lived in my own apartment when I lived in my own country, and here I am saying, Jesus, what are you doing to me again? It reduces you and puts you in a place of humility and dependence like you have no idea. But when the community comes together, and Steve mentioned it, that was such an encouragement for me to be able to settle in and to be here.
So I did not pay Susie to say any of that, but if anybody is interested, I would be very happy to talk more. I think like 2 things come to mind for me. One would be just helping on a very practical level, as has been mentioned, just with like, oh, I'm going to the grocery store. Do you want to come along? Do you need a ride? Like that, stuff like that is huge. And then I think the second thing that comes to mind is also, I encourage people to see if they can find what I call cultural processing partners. So that as a person is navigating a new culture, and we do some weird things in America, or some things that just might not make sense in a very straightforward way. And so to have a friend that, a person can talk to and say, so, I went to this thing, and they did this, and then this happened, and what is going on? I think just having the space to kind of process and talk through and just have the gift of friendship can be really huge. So I think both of those things are just very important.
Speaking in the context here as students and future leaders, I guess it takes intentionality to talk with people from other cultures and from other countries, and you need to make a decision of doing it intentionally. I think that it's going to be a huge deal for a lot of us going out there after finishing here and start working with people from other places. And I hope that you guys can, even I'm doing it, it's not comfortable, I confess this is not comfortable with me sometimes hanging out with people from other cultures. I want to hang out with people that they know what I'm talking about, and I don't need that I can actually speak in Spanish, you know. But I'm learning from other people about God when I talk with people from other countries, and how to serve better. And God is doing a huge thing, but I need to tell you, you need to be intentional and talk with people and know their stories, why you're here, and how, what are the things that you like, etc. Just trying to be friends with them, not only, you know, doing it because it's my duty. I am a pastor, so I need to talk with this guy that looks completely different like me. No, I hope that you guys will find a way to actually enjoy talking with people from other cultures. So.
Okay, yeah. Like refugees, you can teach English. It will be very effective because during the ESL class, there are so many students so they cannot learn. So if you teach them English, it will be great help for them. And also another thing would be that we can consider those immigrants as missionaries back to their home countries, because if they settle down here, they would earn some dollars. So if they send their money to their home countries, then they would have, you know, they are the one with power in their relatives and everything. So some of, for example, here there are many Burmese Buddhists here, but it's very difficult to evangelize them in Myanmar back here, but they are more open here. And then, so most of the Burmese, not the refugees who recently migrated, but some have come here as, you know, educators, and so they are very open to the gospel rather than, well, they are back in Myanmar. So in that case, you can be, let's say, more effective in evangelizing them and teaching them as well. So I think that it can become a mission field as well.
Indeed, man. Just to follow up on what you just said, I spent about 10 days a couple of years ago in China, and got to meet a bunch of Chinese leaders there who spoke English, and it was during the Chinese New Year, and they wanted to come meet with a bunch of people from the United States, those of them who could speak English. And from house to house, we go eating at these different houses, and come to find out a lot of those people had spent time at the university in America, and that was where they became Christians. And just because somebody took them to the grocery store, and then somebody started to teach them English, and they started to share, teach them English through the Bible. So they just started coming to a Bible study and became Christians, and now are serving as significant leaders in the underground church in China. So I just thought that was crazy, just because somebody said, man, here's the grocery store. And they started a relationship that way.